Welcome to the Dalen Show. What's going on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all listening platforms? Welcome to the Dalen Show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for episode number 12 on season 5. So glad you're here and so glad to be back. I know I've been gone for a few weeks. Just been a lot going on this summer, transitioning back home a little bit and working a bunch of different camps and stuff like that. But back and hopefully not going to be missing any more weeks throughout the summer, getting ready to eclipse that season 5 mark and get closer to ending at some point. But appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Hope you enjoyed episode 11 with Sammy Smith. It was really one of my best conversations ever. So go check that out if you have not. Man, you know what? Without me yapping too much, let's introduce our guest today. Really one of my favorite basketball players ever in general, and that's in men's, women's, all in all. So super excited to have this person on the show. Without me talking, let's introduce KK Deans. Woohoo!
Hi.
First of all, KK, appreciate you for coming on. Just how's everything treating you right now in the summer?
Everything's good, a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Just getting ready for the transition to start my professional career. So, yeah.
KK, really quick for people watching or listening that may not know like a lot about you, if you don't mind, could you give like a brief introduction about yourself, just like where you're from, what you do in your life, and just some really accomplished things that you've been able to do across your lifetime to get you where you are today?
Okay. Well, like I said, most people call me KK, but my real name is Kirsten. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, born and raised. I attended in high school. I attended a private school, kind of one that travels a lot during their season. Um, it's called West Ridge Academy. I actually went to school online. Didn't really go to class, so all I did was play basketball. So that transition to going to college was pretty seamless. Started off my career at West Virginia University. I went there for 3 years, graduated as a junior. Um, I decided to transfer to Florida University for a year, and then I finished my career at Ole Miss for the last 2 years. But I was in college for 6 years due to injury. I tore my ACL twice. But through all that, I was able to get um, John Wooden Watch List Award. I've been captain at every school I've been at. I went to Sweet 16 last year. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, great career. Blessed for all the people and the people that coached me, all the teammates that I played with. So, yeah.
Thank you. And I said what I said at the beginning because I'm excited to get to talk to you about your journey because you've been through so much, and you just talked about your 6 years in college from COVID and 2 season-ending injuries as well, which we will get into. But your journey has been so kind of just impactful and motivational from watching afar, and kind of starting where you are right now, getting into the summer and your collegiate career finally ending. What is the plan for you now moving forward in terms of your basketball career and what you're going to do in the future?
Yes, definitely. Still have goal. The goal is to get to the WNBA, but
Mhm.
this is a hard league to get into. Not saying that I can't get into it, um, but just that road to get into it. Playing professionally is whether it's in the W or overseas is the same caliber. So just playing at the highest league in the professional setting is what I want to do. I plan to go overseas in a few months. Um, uh, Doing anything during the summer to uh, stay in shape and be ready for overseas. It was just very important for me. I would have played professionally in Mexico this past like 2 months, but decided to give my body some rest.
Yeah.
It's very important just for recovery, and we've been going so hard. We made it all the way deep in April, so just for my
Yeah.
body, I wanted to make sure I got the rest that I needed because I'm about to be playing, high level minutes for 8 months straight. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure I did the best for my body. So yeah, that's the plan.
Absolutely. I want to take it back to growing up in Greensboro, North Carolina. Just talk about what that city has meant to your life and the impact that growing up in Greensboro has meant to you, and what it's meant to you to become the young woman that you are today.
Oh yes, I mean North Carolina called it Hoop State for a reason.
Yeah.
I've always played against the best through high school, through middle school, through just growing up around it, and they've reached the SEC Power Five, turned into the Power Four. I
Yeah.
played the best of the best, and it was just because of how good people were here. We always pushed you to be the best person, the best player. I was coached by my godfather. My godfather is named Delaney Rudd. He played at Wake Forest, and he had the opportunity to play in the NBA for a couple years, and
Mhm.
he played Utah Jazz with John Stockton. Very played in college with Muggsy Bogues. So
Yeah.
um, just having him as a pivotal part of my process was just important, and he pushed me every day. So again, that college transition was seamless because I had already had that caliber of coaching. Um, Greensboro means a lot to me. Just being here, my father was born and raised here, um, uh, and I met a lot of people that have gone on. Everybody that I grew up with touched a high level because we pushed each other on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and not just as a basketball player, but as a person. And I was just hooping, working out with some guys that I grew up with, playing, and I'm like, oh, they're overseas playing their professional career, and it's just good to see that connection is so strong and it won't go anywhere. So yeah.
You mentioned your godfather, and I'm very family oriented, so I would love to ask you because I'm familiar with who you are and your background. I know family is really big to you, so just talk about people like your godfather and your mother and your godmother. What have they and your family meant to you, and the impact that they made on your life to help you become who you are today?
Oh, everything. I'm nothing without my family. Just giving me. I have two older brothers, and they decided to go through a different path. So my path has been 180 compared to theirs.
Yeah.
So they spend a lot of time with me, just taking me to practice every day, and until I got a car and was able to drive myself because I live in Greensboro, but went to school in Winston, which is about 15 to 20 minutes away. So just
Mhm.
the sacrifice that they did for me and the paying for AAU tournaments, and I didn't just travel for AAU, I traveled for high school as well. So that's constant money, constant hotels, constant just sacrifice. I can't speak to the amount of sacrifice they did, and they said it takes a village. It takes a village, and when they couldn't make it, I always had somebody there. The sports support line was always there, so I'm just blessed to have the family that I have, and they supported me throughout my career. They would get on a plane to come see me play. They would always watch the game, always call me after the game, and tell me what I did good, tell me what I did bad.
Yeah.
And just again, so blessed to have them in my life and consistently praying for me through the good times and bad times when I didn't think I want to do it no more after injuries. Just continuing to pour into me and give me that support that I needed.
Yeah. At what age did you even start playing basketball? When did you pick up a ball for the first time? And as well, what age in your career did those kind of college offers and interest start coming in from across the country?
Actually, I my brother put the ball in my hand first when I was about 3 years old, and he said I made my first shot ever. I picked the ball up, just threw it up at the rim, and I made it. And he was like, "Oh, I know you're gonna be a basketball player." But I
Yeah.
started out playing soccer around 4, and then I
Hmm.
started playing basketball around 5. And they told me I had to choose, and I chose basketball, and I never looked back since. Um, so I've been playing for a long time, so almost 24 years, 20.
Yeah.
So 20 years for sure. Um, but what I my first offer was from and he's real close to like my godfather and stuff. Um, but he was at Eastern Shore, and he offered me in 8th grade, and then UNCC was my second offer in 8th grade. So those two were my first offer, and that's
Yeah.
D1 offer. So after that, I started in 9th grade. I started getting all the other offers, started rolling in, a lot of mail. You go through that
Yeah.
process, so a lot of mail coming from colleges. But yeah, that's when it first started.
Has there been any athletes, whether it's just basketball or athletes in general, that have maybe you looked up to in terms of their motivation and how they worked, or maybe at basketball players and you kind of watched a lot of their film and tried to take bits and pieces of their game to apply to yours? Have there been any athletes or players like that that you kind of really watched from afar and really admire what they do on their game?
I've always been a Kyrie Steph fan.
Hmm.
Kevin Durant. I know his. I'm not his size, but I love his skill. I love his
Yeah,
level. Always a Jordan, Kobe's of the world. Those things like that. Maya Moore, especially growing up, you saw a lot of her. Skylar Diggins,
yeah,
things like that. Those people like that. But well, when I say backyard, when some people say you come from the trenches or something, I looked up the people that did around me. My
yeah,
godfather always coached two teams, so I was on a younger team until I got to be on the older team, and I played
yeah.
up. So in eighth grade, I played a ninth grade team. I always played up. So those people that he coached as they were on the older team, I looked up to them and their work ethic. And every time I had an opportunity to play against them, they let it be known. But one thing about me is like my competitive spirit always kept me in the conversation, and just having that mindset of never giving up and the confidence in myself that I can be on the floor with anybody at any given time, just set me up for college and set me up for it's going to set me up for my professional career. So yeah, I really just looked up to them and how they approach things and how they made me better so I can make the next person better. So it just kind of helped me throughout my career.
Yeah. You mentioned it a little bit at the previous question, but what was your college process like? And I say that, I mean, what were you looking at in terms of schools that you wanted to commit to coming out of high school, and what was that kind of final decision to say, hey, at West Virginia is the place that I wanted to be at to go to college at that time?
At that time, West Virginia was not my highest offer, but
Hmm.
Big 12 was jumping at that time. I mean,
Yeah,
Baylor, Texas, Kansas State. It was just a lot going on in the Big 12, and I also
yeah,
had my god sister there that I mentioned. She was playing there. She started at NC State. Her name was Lucky
hmm,
Rudd. She started at NC State, went to West Virginia, and she was there. So it was kind of like a security blanket as
yeah,
to just knowing that I knew somebody was there. That kind of was my process. And I just felt like a home, and it was a home. Once a mountaineer, always a mountaineer. That's what they say, and you hear country roads everywhere you go. So just
hmm,
so blessed to be a part of that culture for those 3 years and have a degree from there. And but that was my process coming out of high school. Just knowing who I was going to play against. Not many people knew me at a global or as a or for colleges and stuff like that, and just
yeah,
playing against the big dogs to show who I am, that they have to worry about me too. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of my mindset going in. Um, and after graduating there, the mindset shifted. It wasn't really about people knowing me because they knew me, you
hmm,
know.
yeah,
But I had got hurt, so it was kind of like I have to rebrand myself in a way.
yeah,
How is the best way to do that? And Florida was what I needed in that moment. Florida is they say it's all around school. Gym
yeah,
is good, football good,
yeah,
track good. So even being in that culture, like I wouldn't trade it for the world. Just being
yeah,
around that many people that have that same drive as me in a different context. And then I was looking for somewhere to settle in, and being coached by another black woman was amazing. Just being around that type of culture and standards and um, learning things outside of basketball that's going to set me up for life. Um, those are the process. But again, the transfer portal and COVID, all those things. Every 6 year NIL.
yeah.
Through the 6 years, I was able to experience every single one of them, and I wouldn't change that.
If you could give an opportunity to speak to a young lady that has hopes of playing Division I basketball, what advice would you give to young women across the country that have the aspirations of doing what you've been able to do across your basketball career?
Um, I would say dream big and don't let nobody tell you that you can't do anything. Um, Set your goals. Set a goal, a different goal, and once you reach it, set another one. Don't sell yourself short. Um, and don't move in fear. Um, I also would say build a relationship with God. The sooner you do it, your mindset changes when you follow Him and follow and just read the Bible and really build a relationship with Him, because it will help you in the long run. So yeah.
Thank you. And I appreciate you for giving that sentiment of God, because I want to base that on the question I want to ask as well. Your time in West Virginia was spectacular. Every single year you were there, your points per game went up. Your junior year, you have that season-ending tear your ACL. Just what was that experience like for you, and what was that toll that it maybe took on you mentally? But as well during that time, how were you able to connect and rely on God that you knew that He was going to get you out of that situation no matter what?
Yes, I mean, I remember the day, January 29th, 2021 or 22, one of those things. I think it's 22. But when it happened, I had seen it happen to other people so many times
Yeah,
that I kind of knew immediately, but I was like in denial that it could happen to me.
yeah,
And I mean, I was hurt. I was defeated. Um, I was heartbroken. I just of because I felt like I was in the best shape of my life.
hmm,
I was best, just everything. Everything was going good. I had a really good junior year, but I was coasting. And when I reflect on those days, I didn't give the game what it gave me, and I felt
yeah,
like when it was taken away, I had a different look about the game and different feel for it. And it took a lot. I mean, I was definitely in a rough place, but just having that support system, you never know what your support system is like until you go through something,
yeah,
that you really need them.
absolutely,
And I just having a God fearing woman as a mom and God fearing dad and my godmother, just prayer warriors around me, um, really helped me. And that was
yeah,
just what I learned to lean on God. And I really didn't lean on Him as much. I just kind of had faith that I would get out of it. I didn't really start building my own relationship with Him, doing those things, putting the work in, of course, watching church and things like that. But I didn't start doing the work myself until I did it the second time. Because at that time I was just like confused. I'm like, I already did this. Why I got to go through it again? I had all those types of questions. But He has a plan, and my steps are ordered. He doesn't do anything to make you fail. Everything's always a lesson. So yeah, that's kind of what helped me through that tough time.
What was the transition like for you from West Virginia to Florida? And as well, were there any key differences that you noticed in terms of Big 12 basketball and the way they play basketball in the SEC?
Yes. Transition was really good. When I was getting recruited by Kelly, um, she believed in me. She believed that I would come back better. She didn't.
Yeah,
A lot of coaches was like, I don't know if you're gonna come back the same. I don't
yeah,
know. They didn't really want to invest and pour into the process.
yeah,
And Kelly was somebody that didn't care about that, and
hmm,
she fought for me, and she showed interest. And also another reason I felt like it was lined up, I was going to be playing with somebody that I came into college with as my freshman year, Leilani Carrera. She was there. She had committed, and I was like, "Oh, this is crazy!" Like, I didn't
yeah,
get to play with her, but we came in together. I'm definitely going to take this opportunity to play with her again. So yeah, just pour into me, and then that transition to not playing and then coming to a different style of play was
hmm,
definitely a transition, and knowing and learning a different style of play, because I went from somebody who was an old school coach and have these preset things that they do that they not changing for nobody, to somebody that was willing to listen, willing to change, and um, love where basketball was going.
yeah,
So that was really good. That was a really good transition. But the SEC is fast paced and athletic, with the physicality. The Big 12 was you just had to be big and
yeah,
strong and move somebody. it's definitely a different style of play, and that's why you see like Texas and Oklahoma that come to the league. They was already had the physical piece, but they were building that athleticism
Yeah.
part, and that's why it was seamless when they came into the SEC because they were already doing the work. They were playing the SEC schools, so they know the difference, know the style of play. Um, so yeah, that was a good transition. And SEC is truly what it is. It's the best league. It's the baby WNBA. It's everything you want to be in that league. Being in that league for 3 years was the best decision I could have made. And not saying anything about the Big 12 because Big 12, again, was elite at
Yeah.
that time. And so was the SEC, but it was just a different type of play.
What's going on, family? I hate to interrupt the video going on right now. Hope you guys are enjoying it, but I have to give a quick shout out to our very first sponsor, Shadrack's Coffee. Shadrack's is a coffee company that has been in the works for 17 years now. Originally originated in the state of Arkansas, my home state, and now they have ventured to Tennessee and Oxford, Mississippi. Shadrack's has opened their arms to me and put their faith in me, and I just want to say thank you to Shadrack's. If you're in Oxford, you can find Shadrack's at 1797 Jackson Avenue West here in Oxford. And even if you're on the Ole Miss campus, they have different locations on their food truck aisles across the campus. They're usually open at their Jackson Avenue Center from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. So just continue to go get your Shadrack's coffee. You get espressos, energy drinks, hot coffee. You can even get some milkshakes. Shadrack's is the place to go. Even you can get some Shadrack's apparel on their website, like I'm showing you here. And my favorite thing about everything about Shadrack's is they're centered around our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So you can go on the Shadrack's website and you can file a prayer request for yourself, for your friend, or family, anybody. All you have to do is click on prayer request here, type in the name, email, phone number, and your message, and Shadrack's will take care of it. They've done over 1,000 prayer requests in their 17 years of the company, and this is their goal. They are centered around profiting and making Jesus Christ their goal. So thank you guys so much, and thank you Shadrack's for the sponsor. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Throughout your career so far, who have been some of the toughest opponents that you've ever had to play against? Who gave you the most problems as a defender?
Ooh. Most problems. I mean, I would say, Juju is who they say that she is. And that was recent. I'm just giving somebody recent.
Yeah,
She's going to be a really good player.
yeah,
And I have no doubt that she'll come back from the injury because it just makes you view the game differently. And she already
yeah,
has that type of work ethic that she has. I just know, like, she's probably even more motivated now.
exactly.
Um, who else? I'm gonna give you an older player. I played with Kaiser. Kaiser was tough.
Okay,
Kaiser was tough.
I like that answer.
Um, uh, just going against her in practice, and we ended up being on the same team. I didn't have to go against her
Hmm.
much, um, but yeah, she's really tough. Um, but the bigs, I think the bigs just be crazy. Like I've gone against some crazy bigs. Melissa Smith. I mean, um, Ayoka Lee. I mean, the bigs lineup is crazy.
Yeah,
I've gone through a lot of bigs that I'm like, okay, go on somewhere now,
yeah,
But uh, yeah, played a guy against a lot of good players. I can't really name them all, but
yeah.
uh, yeah, for sure.
I want to ask you kind of two questions in one, but just in the same realm. Why would you pledge Delta Sigma Theta? And as well, what has that experience meant to you in your life so far? Because I know that was a huge deal for you and still is to this day, of course.
Yes, I pledged Delta Sigma Theta to have something outside of basketball. The sisterhood that I had in basketball was one that I wouldn't trade for the world, and the sisterhood I have outside of basketball, I wouldn't trade for the world. Um, I have a lot of family members that have pledged Delta. My aunt.
Hmm.
So just being a part of that is something a bit bigger than myself. To do work in the community and have somebody, just doing something that was better than bigger than myself and the networking, that piece that comes behind that. And I was able to pledge with one of my teammates, and that's now my line sister. So just having that deeper connection with her, because what we went through is just our process. It just means a lot.
Yeah.
And also set me up for when I transferred. It was just all things. So like when I
Yeah.
got to Florida, I was able to branch out and meet those those
Yeah.
sorors, and if anybody knows, Florida is the biggest
Yeah.
D line. They come in from A&M and all the like it's so many
hmm
schools, and just connecting with them and just so many
Yeah.
people, and then I can see what they're doing in their life, and it's just that connection, that networking, that sisterhood that we have. That bond is something I wouldn't trade for the world.
After your year at Florida, you had an exceptional year. What kind of was the thought process of getting into the portal again? What was the kind of considering fact that you wanted to go somewhere else after Florida after 1 year?
Um, for me, I feel like I found myself a little bit after Florida.
Yeah.
When I ended up going in transfer portal that year, it really wasn't because anything that Florida did, because I had a great year at
hmm
Florida. Um, it was just I felt like there was more.
Yeah.
Felt like I needed more. I feel like I needed something different. And I was debating on going to the league at that point in time too. Um, but things happened, and I was able to, once I got in the portal, to connect with Coach O,
Yeah.
and her vision for me, and her just determination, how she grew up, and we just related a lot. Everybody always say we remind each other of each other, so
hmm
but we just related a lot of things, and it was just matched. It just felt comfortable, felt like home, felt like something I needed um,
Yeah.
for my roots. And then I ended up being there for 2 years. So like God, again, God doesn't make mistakes. So um, yeah, that was happening.
Throughout your time in college, what was your favorite moment or moments that you had throughout your college career as a player?
Favorite moments. I think the first time going to the NCAA tournament, my sophomore year, was definitely a highlight. COVID was a thing at that
Yeah.
time. Um, getting through COVID and still getting to that position was really good. I think Big 12 tournament, going to the championship, the
hmm
semi round, hitting that buzzer beater, that was really cool. Um, Again, the Sweet 16, that was probably my highlight, the biggest highlight, just going to the
Yeah.
Sweet 16. Um, that tournament when we played UConn. Oh, Paige. They talking about people who played. I forgot about that. Paige. She's who she say they is.
Yeah.
AZ, who they say she is. AZ, all of them. For sure. Um, who else? What else is a good moment? I think just being able to travel. I mean, I've been to Paris, I've been to Italy, I've been to Greece, I've been to Italy twice, Naples, Florence. I think that is the biggest highlight, honestly, being able
Yeah.
to travel the world, just to bounce the ball, just to put it in the hoop, just to be entertainment to people. But that sport is so loved by, like I love the sport. No
Yeah.
matter am I playing it, coaching it, watching it. The love I have for the sport and what it's done for me is that my biggest highlight of my career.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I want to ask you, what is your music type like? Who do you listen to? What are some of your favorite artists, favorite songs? And as well, do you have a specific game day playlist? And if so, who you bumping on your game day playlist?
I am an old soul. I listen to, 70s, 80s, 90s
hmm
R&B. I mean, I grew up on Luther. I grew up on Michael. I grew up on um, everybody.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of old school music. I am an R&B person. I listen to alternative music as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I started writing music when I was in 8th grade, and I didn't know I loved it as much as I did until a couple years ago when I had to like well, when I got injured, when I fell in love, I had to figure out what I liked outside of basketball.
Yeah.
And I love my music. I love writing music. I love making music. So another thing that I would tell somebody that was younger is to find what they love outside of basketball, because the ball does stop. And not saying that you don't have to be around the ball, because of course you could coach, you could do all those things and
Hmm.
things like that, but just another love, like hobbies that you love doing. Pick up pick up music, pick up drawing and things like that. Tap into that artistic side. Um, but game day, you could hear me listen to rap one day and listen to R&B the next day, and you could catch me listen to old school. You will never know me.
I understand.
I would blast Luther Bad Boy in the gym before a game, and I have all the people that work in the concession stands dancing and stuff. It used to be
Hmm.
fun. Um, but yeah, music. Definitely a music lover and have no specific type, but definitely R&B, um, indie, alternative music.
Yeah. Appreciate you for kind of talking about this, but because I wanted to ask, like, you've dealt with so much throughout your journey, and even just as well, just being a collegiate athlete is a difficult task. I wanted to ask you kind of just what are the things that you do to take care of yourself, to keep you calm and keep you relaxed and keeping you at a level head to keep you moving forward to the goal that you want to have.
Um, Pray. I pray. I sit with myself sometimes. You know, and I do music, and I put a lot of like how I'm feeling in my music. I just write music. I can write a poem or something, just to help me feel grounded. Um,
Yeah.
Whatever to make me feel like not an athlete and not a student or anything like that. Go out with my friends. It's not my teammates. Talk to people that I don't see every day, um, to make me feel like I'm not that person I have to be every day.
Hmm.
And being a collegiate athlete, you on a microscope, you're always it's bigger than yourself. Um, you're always representing somebody else. So just doing things that make you normal, make you feel normal, make you feel like you don't have to do anything. That you want to do this. And you get to. Everybody don't get to do that. So those are the things that I kind of did and still do. It's just anything to make me feel grounded.
Yeah. For you personally, and from your perspective, how has NIL changed the way that women's play sports in college? How has it changed the landscape of what you've been able to do over your college time, and maybe how you're able to value different things differently than maybe you were before?
Being compensated
Yeah.
makes you be able to live a little bit more. Being an athlete, you have to do a lot because you have to be a student as well. So I've been blessed to just do mostly online, but the people that have to go to school, go sit in the classroom, come to practice for 4 hours, do all this stuff, recovery treatment, and then go take a test at night. That's a long 24.
Yeah.
So um, at least I can get some money to go spend on
Yeah.
something to make me happy, to go buy me a pair of shoes or something.
Yeah.
Some clothes. It might not be able to wear the clothes that much, but I want to go buy it. But it honestly, on the real note, it helps you set up for after college. Like without NIL, I wouldn't be as comfortable as I am sitting right now.
Yeah.
Having the space and having the time to just recover, I would feel obligated to go play
Yeah.
overseas immediately if NIL wasn't a thing. So it's definitely helping the women in basketball, because in general you don't get paid as much as guys. Um, but now you see Caitlin Clark, Juju, and all these other like Hannah Hidalgo, and just benefit off of just a little piece of it. Having commercials and thriving, and branding themselves, Angel Reese, all of those things. And they're just showing the next generation that it's possible. Most people, nobody. I mean, people knew Angel when she came out, but not nobody ever thought that she would be with who she's doing right now. And I'm just
Yeah.
proud of the woman that she became, and businesswoman. Learning business without even having to sit in the classroom learning about business. You learn it because you're just profiting off your name, image, and likeness. Mhm.
I want to go back to 2023. You end up dealing with another season-ending injury, tearing ACL. This time at Ole Miss, which is a moment that I remember exactly where I was at when it happened. It broke my heart when I saw you grab your knee like you did, because I get scared when an athlete grabs their knee like the way you did. Just talk about that moment. What did that feel like going through that another time? And as well, what did you feel like you then had to do when you were sidelined for the rest of the season in terms of still being a leader with your voice and still being there and being around for your teammates as well?
I mean, disheartened. The first time I told you I was heartbroken. The second time, my heart just ached.
Yeah,
It wasn't broken because I did it before, but like it still hurt.
yeah,
And I knew immediately when I did it. I can't believe I did it on a defensive end. I'm literally trying to play defense, so I wasn't sliding. I literally just put my leg down, um, and I was like, this can't be happening again. And like my coach, I remember her coming in the court and be like, you don't know. I'm like yelling at her like, you don't know, I know.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but even after that, I got up and walked, and I was back there, and
yeah,
I was running in the back. I was jumping. I was like, nah, it's not. I'm this cap. I'm about to go back in it. I went back in the game. And when I went back in the game, I remember my teammate. I'm at half court. She at the bottom, and she looking at me like, "Get this ball, like, about to throw it to me." And she threw it, and the other person got it, and I had to run. Like I could run in a straight line. I just couldn't like plant and stuff. But I ran that straight line, playing defense. This first playback, and I looked at Coach Joe. I'm like, "Nah, you gotta take me out," because it was a championship game playing Michigan. I don't want to lose
hmm,
the game because my pride's too big.
yeah,
So just it was a lot. I didn't know if I was gonna come back and play another year. If I didn't even know at that time, I didn't even know if I could play another year. I thought I played too many games. It was just a lot going on.
yeah,
So once they told me that I did, I was very heartbroken. I was like, I'm just gonna get healthy, go overseas, not come back to college. I was just over it at that moment in time. And again, like I said earlier, like just a lot of prayer, just a lot of just grounding myself, um, and then realizing again it was bigger than myself. A lot of times, as a point guard, you always have to take care of your team. In a
yeah,
way, you always that their responsibility is there, no matter what. It's like you're a reflection
no
of the
doubt.
coach, and I could tell the toll it had on my team. Like
Yeah,
even when I did it, like the 20 minutes, it was like a movie when I ran back out there. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, yeah, she's okay."
yeah,
So I had to be that like comfort blanket for them, not even if I wasn't on the court. And I kind of had to take that mindset the rest of the season. Like, what can I learn? I want to be a coach later. Let me, you know, do coach things, and let me, watch more film. Like, what can I do to help my team and go the furthest we can go? You know what I'm saying? Still be that vocal point, and that's what I was. And until I couldn't be, I had to sit at the end of the bench, and that killed me.
yeah,
I hated sitting at the end of the bench, but you heard me the whole time. Every time I was in huddles, I made sure my voice was heard because I realized the importance of it. I didn't at first. I was being real selfish because just going through it as I'm human, but I realized that I still mattered, and that was a big piece to our success. And just having a coach and that reminded me that, and she was hurt too. She didn't prepare for me to be hurt, and you could tell. So just helping her is all I could do is help her in any way I could. Pour into the freshman that was out there. That was a lot, but they made it. And Zakaya, that was one that and Maria, one's at Columbia, one's at JMU, and you could tell the difference.
yeah,
They were prepared, even though they was thrown in the fire. They taken control as a sophomore at the
yeah,
appointed schools. So it was really good, and that's one of the things when you get out without outside of yourself, you realize it's bigger than you. You preparing them for the next.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm glad you just said something that you said. It was very heartbreaker for me to watch you go down that year. But I also just remember, like I said to a lot of my peers when you went down, that I feel like this is going to be so hard for this team to function without her on the floor, because I felt like so much was put around her to make this offense and sometimes the defense as well to kind
Mhm.
of rejuvenate around how KK plays. So I love that you made that statement. And going kind of forward as well, I want to ask you: do you have what's your end goal, KK? In terms of your career, life in general, what's your end goal? What is the biggest thing you want to do in terms of your future?
I just want to play till I can't play no more. I mean, how long my body takes me, I want to be set up. Make as much money I can off of it. But I also want to give back to the game as much as it gave to me.
Yeah,
Um, you know, teach it. Record, like whatever it is to be around the game. I can't really find myself going somewhere else.
yeah,
But just learning how to be a businesswoman. Like if I'm on somebody's TV talking about basketball, like whatever it is, I can't really see myself not being around it. The game has done so much for me, and I love it that much. Honestly, I do hope to really tap into my music, and like somebody like Flage, she inspired me just to be open about my music and
yeah,
be willing to share it, and I've had, compliments on my music, like, why you not doing it? And it was because I was just living out of fear. I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know why I didn't do it. So, um, yeah, just doing that, and end goal is just to be happy where I am, and um, always have an attitude of gratitude, you know. So, yeah.
I love your positivity and your sight of hopeness as well. And I want to one of the two things that I always kind of ask before kind of wrapping up is two questions in one. So first is just what piece of advice would you want to give to people watching and listening? I know you gave advice to specify towards a basketball player earlier, but like what piece of advice about life in general would you want to give someone that was listening to maybe help their life, help their day, help them move forward in a situation? And as well, I'm really big on this thing called legacy and just doing things that I always want to be remembered for in a positive manner. So I want to ask you, when people hear your name, when people think about who you were as a person, what do you always want to be remembered for about who you were?
Okay, advice. I mean, advice is just live your own life. Be where your feet are. Don't dwell on what you don't have. Be grateful what you do have, and always give back. Always take the time to encourage somebody else, because you never know what that encouragement will do for them. And what I really wanted to be remembered as is somebody that did that. Just I mean, everybody always say like I'm this crackhead that got always have energy. I'm built on my energy. I love. I'm very passionate. I want to be remembered as a passionate person who always had joy and um, didn't mind helping somebody else when they need, and just being there, being that person for them. So that's kind of where I want to be remembered as.
Appreciate it, KK. One last thing before I get you out of here. This thing called I do call quick hitters. So I'm gonna ask you like just a series of questions. You kind of just give me the answer that kind of first pops into your head. Okay. So first is, what is your dream car?
Hard top convertible. Really don't matter what kind of car it is.
Okay. Dream vacation spot.
Bora Bora.
Ooh, okay. Favorite music artist ever.
Ever. Mm. Ooh. I'm just gonna say Luther right now. It's right here in my head.
Okay. If you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Mm, three people. Okay. Zendaya, number one.
Okay.
Um, Michael Jackson for
Okay.
sure. This one.
I like
Yeah.
this too already.
And mm, Maya Moore. I wouldn't mind having dinner with her.
Okay. Uh, Worst movie that you've ever watched.
Worst movie? Probably one of scary movies. What's the one with all the like? It's like 10 of them. Is it Insidious?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not a movie person, KK.
I don't like scary movies. Probably one
I
of the
don't
scary
either, so I
movies.
feel you. Okay. Dream opponent that you would love to play against one day.
Dream opponent. Mm. It used to be Paige until I played her.
Mm-hmm.
But dream now. I guess Hannah. I think she's a dog. I think she
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of myself. So I would say
Yeah.
Hannah.
Okay. And last question is, who's one person that you would like to see join me on the show for a conversation? But the kicker is you have to help me get that person on the show.
Madison Scott. I'm gonna go ahead and make her
Ooh, I love that.
say Madison.
I love that. Thank you. Okay. Well, you heard that here, Madison. We'll see you soon, hopefully. KK, appreciate you so much for giving me some of your time and chatting with you and just being authentic and honest and really just positive. Your energy was really radiant. So I appreciate you for coming on. And I wish the best on the rest of your career and what you have in the future. And I know that the rest of the people watching and the support you also wish the best on you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure enjoyed this a lot. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and make sure you're tuning in next week as well. Thank you guys. God bless everybody.